Evan, tell him the science of what happened again. in quick words.
Heart doesn't work, no oxygen in muscle, die.
That's just what happened. A sort of recap on the training today. We had a buddy of ours, Evan Peikon. He's been working with Training Think Tank. He used to actually work with us back here on the island. He's in town for Thanksgiving, and he happened to purchase a muscle oxygen monitor. He's been using it on different athletes, top level athletes, just to get different scores or different summations about what can be the limiting factor on different athletes. The purpose of it is to kind of see one of three things. One, you can just see your heart's inability to deliver blood to the muscle, or ability to deliver blood to the muscle, or the inability to use oxygen within the muscle, or obviously if you're good with it, then you can use it quite fast. And then lastly, your heart's ability, your respiratory and your lungs' ability to produce the strength to keep going. One of those three factors are usually going to be the limiting factor. And he was here to kind of see which one of those things would apply to me. As a CrossFitter, it's definitely helpful to know these things. It's not to say that you can't train and get better without knowing these things. It's just that there's a little bit of guessing involved first with the athletes you work with, and you might see them develop well or get better by doing different things, and then you kind of draw and come to these conclusions. But this is just a way to kind of at least have some, evidence. This way you kind of know what you need to train. So the way we kind of broke it down was we did it in the form of a cyclical test, which was on our air bike or on our assault. He brought the monitor. It was just a small monitor, and we strapped it right to my leg, and it had some type of infrared technology where it'll actually see the contractions of the muscle, and it'll kind of go right here, and then from there it's linked to a computer, and you can just see what's happening within the muscle, how fast the muscle desaturates, how fast the muscle kind of recovers, and it was definitely really cool to watch. I've never seen anything like that before. The test, what we did was 5 minutes on and 1 minute rest. Every 5 minutes or every other 5 minutes, you would increase a wattage, which is basically our speed on the air bike. Your first 2 sets were very light. Not very light, but light enough almost like it was a warm-up. What happens is in any athlete, when they start to exercise, their muscle completely desaturates like right when they start going, because their heart takes a little while to start pumping and start catching up and start drawing blood and oxygen to and from the heart to the muscle, right? So it takes a little while to get that warm. After your first 2, now you're warm, and it'll keep on increasing every other set thereafter until you just tap out. Obviously there is some psychological ability behind it, but more or less when I got to my breaking point, Evan was pretty much able to see it. I did my last 5 minutes at I think I was 45 minutes in, and I looked at him and I was just like, I'm done. And he looked at me and he was like, I know. You could just see it. He said that my muscles were completely desaturated of oxygen for almost 30-35 seconds. So the conclusion that he kind of drew with that was, one, that my strength endurance was good, that wasn't really my limiting factor. He drew the conclusion that my limiting factor happened to actually be my heart's ability to send blood back to my muscle, right? So blood was in my muscle, my oxygen would just be utilized the second it was there. So there's different ways that you could train this. You could train your heart, you could train your muscle. If it's your lungs and your respiratory strength, you could train that as well. So there's different protocols that you have to do to train whatever your limiting factor is. And it was actually really interesting to see, and I'm very happy that I did it. But that wasn't it. So it wasn't just that. It was those 45 minutes. Then I had to rest 6 minutes, and I had to do 30 seconds max calories on the assault bike. For those of you who have done it, you know exactly what that feels like. For those of you who haven't done it, picture it like this. Picture like you run 5 to 6 miles at a increasing effort. That effort is maybe a finishing 3/4 pace, but you're very out of breath after those 5 to 6 miles. Now rest 6 minutes, recover slightly, and I want you to run a 300-meter sprint as fast as you can. More than likely, it's not going to feel very good, and you'll be able to see me in this footage. I didn't feel very good after. But needless to say, it was a great test, and I was very excited to do it. And I'm very thankful that Evan Peikon from Training Think Tank was able to come and help me out with that.
This no jack shit was handed to me. I'd rather die than put my hands out. Yeah, it's like a test me and my family, that's a man down. If you had an ounce of foresight, then you would stand down. Life, I cherish every minute of it. A death is certain, so let's talk about a different subject. And for the Hope was a classic, and they'll be running it backwards for 20 years. I second every single sentence from it. Yeah, tell Nas he should have signed me. I don't hold it against you, I blame the time. I remember meeting you up at Philippe Child's. You stood up out your chair when I freestyled. Then you told me how much you respected me. I didn't hear back, I would've changed the trajectory. It's all good, I'ma build my own legacy. Fuck following the recipe, this shit is my destiny. Just know I got pure intentions in this Instagram world. I'm never seeking attention for my face, just my words. So I hope that you never mention me amongst these herbs. I leave these herbs burn, shit, you can't hold a candle to me. Man, we started off last in this relay race when they ran it to me. I told them hand it to me, let me do my thing. How we losing?
Quads.
Quads. Quads. Quads.
A fascinating device. Don't ever use one.
This no jack shit was handed to me. I'd rather die than put my hands out.